Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today is part 2 of question and answers. I have Carly, my wife, here with me.
Hi.
The video might be a bit longer than last time, but we'll try and get through some of the questions and stuff. Well, okay, what we'll be talking about what bills to pay and how to pay them, and the different cost of living whilst we've been here. Firstly, we'll talk about car-related questions. So here we have our kind of annual MOT, but they don't call it an MOT here, and it's less thorough here than it is in the UK. But yeah, so you go to your garage and they just check over your car, and you get a wee sticker that you put above your mirror, and that says that you're legal. And that's roughly sort of 40 to 50 lever, depending where you go. The next thing is road tax, which you need to do yearly, which you need to go to a place called Easy Pay, which is like a kind of, you can pay your bills there and do all sorts of things. That's your road tax is about 195 lever per year. And obviously you need to pay that before you go to your MOT, because the MOT people won't allow you to do it. The next thing is green tax, which is really based for if you've bought a car from abroad and you brought it over, you need to register in this country, and you just pay a one-off bill for that, and then it's done. With the car insurance, we go through a company called Lev Insurance, and luckily we have a guy who we know, and he sends our documents by incl, which is a delivery company, a bit like kind of DPD or Speedy also here, which is like DPD, and they deliver straight to your house, and you just pay for a delivery charge, and you get your documents for nothing. But you can do it online or you can do it by post, but it's up to yourself. Now there's this type of road tax for actually driving on the roads. This is called BG toll, and you'll find when you're driving on the main roads, you'll see big cameras that scan your registration plate, and that makes sure that you're legal to drive on the road, so they can use the money from that to upgrade the roads, etc. And warning, if you don't pay on time, you will get stopped and you will get a big fine, and it's not worth it, because it happened to us once, and no, don't do it. And your BT tolls roughly about £100 per year, depending on the size of your car. Okay. Right, the other thing is, when you're driving in this country, you need to have your day running lights on all the time. Even if your car doesn't have day running lights, you need to have your main headlights on. It's a legal requirement in Bulgaria. If you don't do it, you will get stopped by the police and given a warning. And also in the winter time, you need to have your winter tires on, because regularly they do on the stop checks on your car. They check your documentation. They do this more here than they do in the UK, funnily enough, but I think it's quite good, because it makes sure that everyone's on spec with their car. Now Carlene's got some question and answers for you, so I'll pass it over to Carlene now.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Well, I've basically got a few utility questions here. I'm not too sure which ones are utilities and which are just general expenses, but we'll go through them. The first one on our list here is council tax. Now, for us over here, the council tax is a lot cheaper than in the UK. We pay £20 per year for our village house. It's a 3-bedroom house in the countryside. So the council tax is of course different if you live in a big city, and it might be different on the size of the family. We actually pay the council tax here per person, so we just pay for the two grown-ups, so 2 adults. So £20 a month, nice and cheap, but £20 a year, nice and cheap.
Yeah, wow.
Okay, the next thing is wood. We buy a lot of wood here for the winter to heat the house with. The wood prices have doubled in the past year. Last year we were able to buy for 165 leva a 1.8 cubic meter pallet of wood, and now we're paying about 190 leva for a cubic meter of wood. So we normally order about 10 cubic meters for the year, and we are lucky that we have 3 air cons as well in the house that you can put on the heating setting. So we just alternate a bit between burning the wood and using the air cons. So you could use something like £300 a winter on wood, up to 500, but you could spend even more on wood.
Yeah, yeah. And our wood that we get is actually chopped and diced for us.
And a reputable company.
By a reputable company. You can buy your wood as in like logs or kind of slight cut logs, and it's slightly cheaper, but then you got to chainsaw and cut it yourself. Yeah. And that's quite a lot. Yeah,
so convenience, we decided in the end to buy it ready to use. The next expense we're looking at is electricity. We're paying around £50 a month here, which is almost half of what we paid in the UK. And we're very happy about that. Then the next thing, gas. We are not on a network of gas here, so we don't have gas boilers or any gas in the house, but you can cook on gas. So what we've decided is when we bought a cooker, we bought one that's half electric, half gas. So I mainly cook on the gas 99% of the time, and we spend very little on the gas. You go down to your local hardware shop and you pay about £18 for a large bottle of gas that'll last you for about 3 months if you cook on it.
But the reason why we got the gas, is when we started living here, there was quite a few power cuts, and you might find that in some of the villages. And so we decided if there's a power cut, we can still cook with gas.
Exactly.
So that's one of the reasons why we chose half and half.
Absolutely. And then the next thing is we need to pay for water every month. So we've got a really large garden. We've got lots of vegetables, and in the summertime you really need to water the lawn, water the flowers and the vegetables. So we're paying around £40 a month for water, but it's a lot less in the winter. It's probably about £10 a month in the winter. So the water bill does vary from month to month. There is a guy in the village that comes around, checks your meter readings, and you get charged something like 3 leva for a cubic meter of water. So yeah.
So we hint, if you're wanting to water your garden in the summertime, try and use your roof space for guttering, and try and use rainwater. Try and put it into tubs and then use that for watering. We've been doing that.
Yeah, and the reason why we use a bit more in summer is we've got a swimming pool as well.
Yeah.
So not everybody will be spending £40 a month on water.
When it's hot.
Yeah, so on average it's probably about £20-30 a month if you've got a smaller garden and no swimming pool. So the next section I'm going to pass back to Dave. He's going to cover some more expenses that you normally pay every month. Things like TV, internet, that kind of thing.
Yep. Okay, so the TV, internet, we get through just a normal telephone line, but it's through the line we get the internet and TV package, so we get something like 100 and something channels. Most of them in Bulgarskate or in few in English. But it's good because we like to watch them because it helps us learn the language, and it's interesting. And the internet, we just go down the road and pay it, and it's what 42 leva a month, which is great, and it's cheap for the both. And actually, though, for the size of our village, the internet's pretty good actually. We're actually quite surprised. Mobile phones. We use a company called Vivacom, which is one of the top end companies, a bit like O2, and we pay roughly about 80 leva a month for that, and we just pay online for those. And we've got 2 mobile phones and we use them regularly. And luckily there's mobile phone masts around, so we get a good signal for 4G, so it's fine. Now, an interesting subject. It's a question about sewage. Now, or as my daughter would say, the poo-poo tank, Daddy. Now, most houses in the villages, they have septic tanks because there's no proper sewage system in the village our size. Maybe in the bigger towns there's some sort of sewage thing, but most houses have a septic tank. If it soaks away properly and your tank's big enough, then you can have it emptied every 3 to 5 years. If it's not so much, then it's maybe yearly, and you can call out a suction company that comes out, and they can come and just suck it out, and that's about 180 leva or something. It can be pricey, depending where you live and
if there's a call-out fee.
If there's a call-out fee as well. And now it's back to Caroline again.
Oh yeah, okay. So I got a nice subject. People asking us how much do we spend on food here, groceries, that kind of thing. I've been checking what we've been spending lately, and on average about £400 a month. We're a family of 3. But I must say we could probably live a little bit cheaper. We do have a little bit of luxuries here and there. Mm-hmm. So it depends on what you're eating and where you're buying. In the UK, we often enjoyed shopping at Lidl and Aldi and that kind of supermarket. And over here, they've got Lidl as well. So you know exactly what to expect when you shop in Lidl, good quality.
Yeah, and they have a Kaufland as well, but it's very German related.
It's German as well, Kaufland as well as Lidl. But there's other very good supermarkets as well that some of the things could be a little bit cheaper in. But you can live really cheaply here if you eat, you know, vegetables and not very expensive meat and stuff. You can definitely live on less than £400 a month for groceries. So the food over here is very good. We are not complaining about the food. Lots of barbecues, lots of salads. And
oh yeah, the food is really nice. And if you go out to restaurants, it's reasonably priced as well. You can it's a lot cheaper than back in the UK.
Yeah, so often the 2 of us go out, and probably for about £10 you can have a starter, main and dessert per person. Mm-hmm. And when you go out to like a food court in a shopping mall, for about £10 you can buy 2 main courses. You know, for 2 people. So yeah, food is not very expensive. We've done a little bit of a comparison of our monthly expenses here and compared to the UK, but just before we left. And what we'll do is in the description section of the video of today, we'll give you a little bit of an idea what we roughly spend per month. We won't go into too much fine details of very personal expenses and that. But your average things and the things we talked about here today, we might have mentioned some figures here today. but I will try and give you some accurate figures, in the description, so you can get a rough idea of what things cost. Now I'm going to pass you over back to Dave. He's going to talk a bit about the language and a couple of other things that we've picked up here.
Right, okay, as you can well imagine, we're in Bulgaria, and you've got there's Bulgarian language. But to actually learn the language is really hard. As myself, I've got dyslexia, so it's really hard for me. It is one of the 10 hardest languages to learn in the world. So, but I've been finding it quite hard. Caroline can luckily speak a few languages, so she's picking up a bit easier than I am. There is online teaching courses for Bulgarian learners. The language is a Cyrillic alphabet, which has numbers and symbols, and that's where it can be confusing. Letters and symbols. But luckily enough, we managed to get by using Google Translate when we're in shops and we want to communicate to someone. And we kind of get by with basic words as well. The question actually Bulgarian people themselves. We found since we came here, the hospitality of the people, especially in the villages, have been brilliant. They're so nice and they're very welcoming. And I've not really had anything bad to say about the people in the villages and stuff. Everyone's so nice. Although there has
we've made lots of friends.
Yeah, we've made lots of friends, especially with our neighbours.
In a short time,
we've been socialising with our friends as well, and
the neighbours are really friendly, and they often just bring you stuff,
You'll knock at the door and they'll bring you, some sort of pastry, a benitza or something. It's like, oh wow, thanks very much, and if you're walking on the street, people will wave at you
and smile at you.
Even if you don't know them. In the UK, we found
people in our street didn't even greet us.
Which we thought was a bit kind of
rude.
Maybe because they're too busy. But there is some downside we found in some places, especially maybe in the cities and stuff. You get some sort of nationalism form of discrimination. So if you're asking a question in a shop somewhere, they'll just go nay, or they'll just look at you and go and not want to be interested. We found that when we tried to find our bank account. We went to 2 or 3 banks before we got to KBC, and these other banks were like, no, nay. As soon as they saw that we were foreigners, not interested. But it's their loss. They didn't want our monies. But so it's but that's that question answered. Back to Caroline again.
Okay, all right. Another question we've been asked is why we've settled in this specific area. The area we decided on in the end was not too far from the airport, an hour and a half from the airport, because we thought when we have friends and family flying over from the UK or from South Africa, in my case, we didn't want our friends and family to spend another 2, 3, 4 hours in the car when we pick them up from the airport. So that's why we decided to find a house in this area. But there's not a lot of other expats here. So I know a lot of British expats, other expats, like to stick together a bit. But we didn't want that. We wanted to become part of Bulgaria. We wanted to learn about their language, their food, their culture, their tradition, their religion, interesting things. And we wanted to integrate. We wanted to become part of it all. We wanted to socialize, and we didn't want to stick out like a sore thumb and to be these, strangers that nobody wanted to mix with, and, like aliens. So that is, really how we feel. We didn't want to be part of that exclusive expat community. And we are actually glad that we've not done that, because I don't think we would have enjoyed it as much as we enjoy it now. And we have a huge French circle, and so many different kinds of friends, and we socialize a lot more now than we did when we were in the UK, and we have a bit of a social life now, actually. And sometimes we need to decline social invitations because we are just simply too busy socially. So it's great. It's great. Yes, so we've basically talked about the traditions, the culture, the religion. It's all very different. The religion here is the Orthodox religion. So you get Christianity, and it's divided into three main parts. You got the Protestants, the Catholics, and the Orthodox. So it's still Christianity, but it's very, very different to how we know it. And in the churches, everything is in Latin. So we've actually attended a baptism one time, and it was very interesting, very beautiful, in a beautiful monastery. But we couldn't understand a word. But we were told that most Bulgarians doesn't understand it either. So we find it really strange that you go to a church and you can't understand anything the minister is saying. But it's different, but it's interesting. And the other thing that I think is very important to mention is when the Bulgarians agree with you and they say yes, they shake their heads like this. And that when they don't agree with you, they go like this. So this is extremely confusing. And even until this day, 3.5 years later, I need to do this when I say yes, because I can simply not do it. I can't do it. So that was basically it. The other question we had was from Josie Barlow.
On Facebook?
On Facebook. And she was asking about how our daughter, who is at the moment 4.5 years old, is finding it here in Bulgaria after we've moved from the UK, and how she's settling in. And we can honestly say she's loving it. In the beginning, it was a little bit of a, how would you say, a change for her, and she had to obviously learn the language. But at that age, when they're that small, they're just like a sponge. They just absorb the words every day. And she didn't know a single word of Bulgarian when she went to kindergarten. And now she can speak it fluently. She can answer questions, no problem. She understands everything very well. So when I say she couldn't speak a word, I did try to let her listen to some Bulgarian videos and nursery rhymes and things like that. But I can't say that we've actively made her learn Bulgarian before we came. And I'm actually taking a short course now, an online course, just for basic conversational Bulgarian, and really enjoying it. So it is possible to learn the language. You just need to give yourself some time and be patient. So I'm going to pass you back to Dave. He's got one more question about pets.
Yeah. Okay. We got a question from Heina, I think that's how we spell her, from Facebook. She's asking about wanting to bring her cat and dog over, I think from Glasgow, if I'm correct. She's coming over to Bulgaria. Now, obviously, we said before in the previous video, we brought our cat over, Simba. And so we went to our local vet and we applied for a pet passport. And that's easy. I think you have to pay a wee fee, obviously. And you have to do a wee picture for him, and it's like really, really cute.
Yeah, and they just basically needed the rabies injection.
Yeah, you need a rabies injection, because obviously this is could be a possible rabies country. So we used a company called Pet Air UK. So contact them, and they organise everything for you, which is really, really good. So basically, once you've organised everything, you basically just take your pet your pets to the airport, and you meet up with the company that they've organised. They take the pet off you, they put it onto a plane, and they flies down to London, and then obviously from London it'll fly to Bulgaria, and they'll meet up with you when you arrive there, and so that's basically that. So I hope that's been some help. If you think you have any other questions for us, please send comments in the on Facebook, Scotsman in Bulgaria, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously on my YouTube channel you can put comments down as well. And obviously don't forget to subscribe, because that really helps the channel and help us continue making videos. And anything else from you, Caroline?
No, I think we've covered most questions, and I hope you've enjoyed our video, and I hope that you will be watching our next video again. Have a nice day.
Yep, thank you. Cheers. See you in the next
Bye.
video. Ciao.